8 school children have been shot dead in Serbia, apparently at the hands of their 13-year-old classmate.
13-year-old killed 8 of his school friends. May 23, 2023 marked the first school shooting for the country of Serbia and the Balkans as a whole. That morning, Kosta Kuzmanovic entered Ladislav Ribnikar Elementary School armed and prepared to kill. He went straight for security and shot a guard in the chest. Once in the hallway, he shot 3 girls. Kosta then barged into a history class and shot the teacher, killed several other students, and wounded others. All were younger than 12. Kosta's 10-year-old sister was in a classroom nearby. The social assistance service later stated, the younger sister of the killer boy is in very serious condition. She won't stop crying. She was at school when it happened and knows everything. Kosta had fired 57 bullets in just a few minutes.
One boy was shot in the leg. One girl was injured. I think also 2 more boys. But he didn't shoot them all. It was horrible.
I saw children from school running out screaming. They all hid there by a cafe. The parents came, they were terrified, and then I heard 3 shots.
Kosta then called the police to confess to the crime and said, I'm a psychopath and I need to calm down. By then, the police had already received numerous emergency calls. When the police arrested him, they confiscated a CZ-75 Shadow 2, a Ruger 22 pistol, and 4 Molotov cocktails. According to local detectives, Kosta was also armed with 2 petrol bombs, but never used them. There was disturbing evidence that he had meticulously planned the shooting for over a month.
The boy, as he stated himself, planned to carry out this act. This was a list of the children he planned to kill. He himself drew the plans of the school entrance and exit. The sketch looks a bit like something from a video game or from a horror movie.
In total, he had killed 7 girls, 1 boy, and the school security guard. In addition, 6 children and a teacher were hospitalized. One student described Kosta as a quiet guy, but good grades. Another student said, we all call him a nerd.
It seems that the student in question was a talented student, according to the media reports. He'd won numerous prizes for his prowess in mathematics and history.
A clear motive could not be discerned. There was speculation that Kosta was a victim of bullying, that perhaps he felt ignored or ostracized.
Investigators are still trying to establish a motive.
The citizens of Serbia are expressing their shock on social networks after the news they heard this morning and are trying to comprehend just what happened, because despite the fact that the Serbian nation is among the most armed in the world, school shootings have never happened before in Serbian history.
In Serbia, if you are under the age of 14, you are below the age of criminal responsibility. At 13, Kosta was a minor and couldn't face criminal charges. Furthermore, when police escorted him to the car with a head covering and only revealed his initials as KK so that his identity was protected. The 2 guns he carried were licensed and belonged to his father, Vladimir. Vladimir had trained him on how to use firearms, and they had gone to a shooting range together on many occasions. When asked about the guns, his father said there was no way his son could have free access to them. It turned out Kosta knew the code to the gun safe by heart. His parents were arrested.
His father will be charged. What exactly those charges are, we don't know yet, but the reason the father is being charged is because the 2 guns, the 9mm pistols that were used in this attack belonged to the father. They were legally registered firearms, but of course this 13-year-old boy was able to have access to them, had 3 magazine rounds with 15 rounds inside of them, and unleash them on his classmates.
His father is now facing charges related to acts against public safety, while his mother is charged with child neglect. During the hearing, Vladimir denied the crimes he was accused of. Kosta's mother asserted there was nothing unusual about his upbringing or about his behavior. Since then, the parents have received a private lawsuit from one of the victims' families seeking compensation for the death of their child. Later on, Kosta's mother allegedly tried to flee the country, claiming this was for a vacation at her therapist's suggestion. Kosta was sent to court, ordered psychiatric treatment at a facility in Belgrade, and will only be released when the facility declares him well. Many citizens have expressed their grief and profound trauma at the situation.
Ja ne znam šta da vam kažem, ja sam prosvetni radnik i evo sad upravo idem u školu. Potresena sam kao ljudsko biće. Jučerašnji naredni dani su najtužniji dani koje sam ja i u svojoj karijeri kao ljudsko biće doživjela. Juče smo proveli dan sa decom pokušavajući na neki način da racionalizujemo to što se desilo, ali reči nema.
Pogasiti sve što izaziva nasilje i našoj deci obezbediti što god više druženja, izbaciti mobilne telefone, zabraniti mobilne telefone u školi, jer ovo je strašno. Strašno, 8 dece, pitanje je i ovo ostalo što će biti tuga jedna velika.
Dete doživjelo, znači ne možete da zamislite šta. Ona je vidjela čovjeka kako pada, čovjek puca i ona je, znači dok je pobjegla, misle da će čovjek da sa pištolom da jurca iza.
One girl was shot in the head and was taken to the hospital in critical condition, where she fought for her life for almost 2 weeks before she tragically passed away. But the nationwide period of mourning had just begun. Not one day later, a 21-year-old gunman killed another 8 people and wounded 14 in 2 Serbian villages, Mali Orašije and Sepsin. He was driving down the street targeting people at random with an automatic weapon.
This sparked a manhunt across a very wide swath of this country involving some 600 officers, and this is a very rural area. As you can see, there are a lot of potential hiding places for a suspect.
He was arrested 90 miles south of Belgrade after an all-night search and was allegedly wearing a t-shirt with a pro-Nazi slogan. However, motive is unknown, though he did have an extensive criminal history. Witnesses speculated he had severe mental health issues. Officers searched a relative's home and discovered hand grenades and a large stash of illegal automatic rifles and ammunition. Like Costa, the gun he used for a mass murder belonged to his father. In the following week, tens of thousands of people flooded the streets in protest in the capital and in other cities. Serbia has the highest level of gun ownership in Europe. Worldwide, they are third only after the United States and Yemen. The 2018 Small Arms Survey estimates that there are 2.7 million guns in Serbia, with fewer than half of them registered with the government.
Now, a lot of that is the legacy of Yugoslav times, where people were expected to have weapons at home in case they were needed to be mobilized in case there was a conflict.
17 people were killed and 21 wounded in 2 days. Beyond protests, Serbian teachers' unions announced protests and strikes to demand changes. The killings also prompted the government to announce new gun control measures.
Izvršit ćemo gotovo potpuno razoružanje Srbije. I legalnim, a nelegalno držanje oružja kazne će biti toliko velike, gotovo da ćemo ih udvostručiti.
New gun sales have been banned for 2 years. All existing gun permits are under review, and gun owners must also submit in-person psychological and background checks. Owning an illegal gun is now punishable for up to 15 years. But what happened next gave the nation hope. People in Serbia started turning in their guns voluntarily. 70,000 guns were surrendered in May alone. Over 2,500 explosive devices and hounds of thousands of rounds of ammunition were also turned in.
The Deputy Interior Minister says this is only the start. He wants to take 90% of guns off the streets soon.
What do you think when you see all of this?
I see life saved.
Some people are comparing the Serbian response to countries like the United States that has been plagued with mass shootings for years. It has long been criticized for its negligence on the subject as well as their culture of violence.
What would you say to Americans who've been through this and then see no change?
I would say to them, safeguard your democracy if you still have it, and mobilize.
Thanks for watching this episode of Crime 101. We hope you join us next time.